It was one of the rarest Saturday mornings, and you had a long overdue spa day planned. As you grabbed your purse and slipped into your comfy sneakers, Jimmy stood confidently in the doorway, holding your 3-year-old twins by their tiny hands. He had the trademark grin, the one that screamed he could handle anything, but you looked for it. Being an idol, he was away from home most of the times, watching his children grow up through your eyes. He returned home the previous evening after months of touring around the world. You knew he needed rest, and leaving your overly energetic toddlers with him didn't seem right to you. I can cancel it, you know. You repeated the same thing you had been uttering throughout the morning. But Jimin ignored it. He was determined to give you a break from daily chaos. Don't worry, baby, I got this, he said, his tone firm, full of belief in his abilities. His lips curved into a wide grin as he hugged your 3-year-old twins close. They looked angelic enough with innocent smiles and wide eyes. But you knew those two. Behind those sweet faces were minds full of schemes and boundless energies. You paused, turning to face him with a knowing look. You sure you got this? You asked, raising an eyebrow. Babe, come on, he scoffed, ruffling your son's hair while your daughter giggled in delight. I am the park Jimin. I have handled sold out concerts. How hard can two toddlers be? Oh, really? You crossed your arms. Because those two, you gestured towards the twins, who were now whispering to each other with suspicious grins, are not fans screaming her name. They are toddlers, unpredictable, scheming, and sticky toddlers. You sure you are ready for this? You asked, raising an eyebrow. Of course, he replied with a grin, scooping up both kids as they squealed under the light. It's just a few hours. What could they possibly do? You chuckled, knowing he would soon find out. He pressed a kiss on their cheeks, prompting giggles from them. Aren't you guys angels? You'll behave for daddy, right? Both twins nodded enthusiastically. Your daughter, Ji-hye, added with a mischievous grin. We'll be good. Her brother Jihoon bobbed his head in agreement. You stared at them, unimpressed, knowing the real personas behind those innocent expressions. Don't trust that face. I saw that face right before she tried to paint the dog. Jimin waved you off, still exuding confidence. Go, relax, enjoy. I'll be fine. He uttered voice full of conviction, but you knew better. You could already foresee the troubles coming his way. You gave him a look, but finally sighed. Okay, fine. Emergency numbers are on the fridge, snacks are on the lower shelf, and don't, under any circumstances, leave them alone near my vanity. He gave you a reassuring smile as he bounced them in his arms, eliciting sweet laughter from them. Piece of cake, he affirmed, his eyes glinting with determination and confidence. Sighing, you gave him a quick kiss on the cheek and pressed kisses on their twins' foreheads. Okay, I'll just leave then. Good luck. With one last wary glance at the twins, you left, glancing at your phone because you knew it was going to face a lot of trouble today. As you walked out of the door, you felt a twinge of guilt but couldn't help smiling. This would be good for him. He had always seen your daily parenting adventures as funny stories. Now he would get his own to tell. As your car disappeared from their sight, they came back inside. Jimin put them down on the couch, but instead of sitting still, they started hopping on it like two little kangaroos. Hey babies, don't jump, you'll hurt yourself. He stopped them by holding their arms. Their lips puckered into a pout as they hugged him by his neck. He frowned at their reactions. I'm hungry, he mumbled, dropping his head on Jamal's shoulder. Me too. She nodded, resting her head on his other shoulder. Oh, you guys are hungry? How about Daddy cook something for his little munchkins? He asked. The twins beamed at him, nodding their heads animatedly. Okay, then be my good little babies and sit here. I'll be quick. He muttered as he made them sit on the couch, pressing a quick kiss on both of their cheeks. He made his way towards the kitchen. As their father was out of their sight, they shared a mischievous grin. Jihe, let's make a cushion fort, he suggested. Jihe's eyes sparkled in excitement as she nodded. For the next 15 minutes, they wobbled around the living room, pulling off every cushion from the couch to make an elaborate fort. Their energy was palpable, and Jimin, for sure, was going to witness a real image of his angelic kids. Meanwhile, Jimin struggled in the kitchen, rummaging through the cabinets to find the required ingredients to make pancakes. He somehow managed to collect all the ingredients and decided to check on the twins. As he emerged from the kitchen, his eyes widened slightly upon witnessing the state of the living room. Cushions were spread at every corner except the couch. Amidst the mess stood his kids. His eyes enlarged even more when he watched his phone in Jaehyun's hand. No, no, baby, it's my phone. It's not a toy to play with. Come on, give it back to me, he said sweetly, though he was panicking inside. They looked at Jimin for a brief moment and ignored his words completely. For them, his phone was the most entertaining toy they had ever seen. Just as Jihyun raised his hand to throw the device towards Jihae, Jimin acted quickly. He rushed forward and caught it before it could hit Jihae. A loud sigh of relief escaped from his lips. However, the unbothered twins clapped in excitement. Good catch, Daddy. He stared at them for a moment longer and smiled slightly. They were too adorable that he wouldn't afford to be strict with them. How about you both help me prepare the breakfast? He said after thinking for a while. He had sensed that they were troublemakers and leaving them alone again wouldn't be a nice idea. Okay, they sang in unison and hopped towards the kitchen. Jimin chuckled at their cuteness and followed them. Jimin scooped them both in his arms and put them on the counter. Now sit here and watch me prepare pancakes for you. But were they going to sit still? Absolutely no. Jihae got her hold on the maple syrup bottle. She inspected it for a few moments before opening its lid. She stood up to her feet and emptied the bottle on Jimin's head. Jimin, who was whisking the batter of pancakes, paused midway as the syrup dripped down his face and down to his clothes. Jimin looked up at her with a deadpan look where she gave him a victorious grin. If it wasn't enough, Jihoon sprinkled a handful of cereals on his head, prompting him to close his eyes. He opened his eyes after a brief moment and watched his kids celebrating their victory by clapping for themselves. Wow, so buoyant, he thought to himself. Meanwhile, you came to a restaurant to have breakfast. As you took a seat, your phone pinged with a notification. It was an image text from Jimin. Jimin was sitting on the floor, dressed in what appeared to be maple syrup. His hair was sticking up in odd angles and his expression was a mix of disbelief and exasperation. In the background, you spot your daughter, triumphed on the coffee table, clutching an empty bottle of syrup like a victory flag. Your son was beside her, clapping his hands and laughing, face smeared with cereals. Things got sticky. It's fine, we are fine, read Jimin's text. You couldn't help but laugh, shaking your head. He was learning. Another picture came through. This time your son was seated on the floor, his head dusted with cereal like confetti, and your daughter was mid-sprinkler, her angelic smile practically glowing with mischief. Jimin had a helpless look, his hand halfway out as if he was trying to decide between stopping her or just giving up. Before you could respond, a follow-up text arrived. How do I get them to stop? You chuckled, texting back. Think fast, honey, you are outnumbered. You put your phone down and took a deep breath, reminding yourself that this was good. Jimin needed to learn firsthand that taking care of twins wasn't all cuddles and kisses. Jimin plopped on the couch with a huge sigh. It had been barely an hour and he was already on the verge of giving up. He had always seen them as two cute, obedient kids, but he didn't know they were a handful. He reclined back and shut his eyes, but his eyes shot open when he realized something. Wait, where are the kids? He panicked, jolting up from the couch. Alarmed, he started searching for the twins everywhere. He had been busy cleaning the kitchen and they decided to disappear to add more to his distress. He stepped into the bedroom. Relief washed over him when he saw the kids there, but his relief lasted only for a moment until he registered the state of the bedroom. They had turned the whole bedroom upside down. It was as if a storm came and left, leaving behind the remnants of its destruction. The bed was a mess. The white couch was painted with what seemed like red color, but in reality it was your red lipstick. They were now engrossed in drawing on the walls, your makeup palette being their art palette. Then it clicked his mind. You had asked him not to let them near your vanity. God, no, no, he shouted, startling the siblings. They glanced at him once, grinning in happiness, and then resumed their task, completely unbothered while their father was freaking out. Stop scribbling on the walls, he said, stepping towards them and snatching her makeup stuff from them. Their lips puckered into a pout as they tried to get their art supplies back, but Jimin refused. No, your mom is going to kill me, he muttered, looking at the mess they created. Let's do one thing. Let's bake cookies together. He forced out an enthusiastic smile. The twins thought for a moment, sharing a glance, and then nodded in agreement. Jimin sighed and cradled them under his arms. They squealed in joy as he took them out of the room. Just as you were blissfully sinking into a massage table, your phone vibrated with a message. Jimin had sent a video. Jimin was in the kitchen, his hair now dusted white, and whispered dramatically into the camera. Babe, I thought baking cookies would calm them down, right? I mean, it's flour, butter, some eggs. How hard could it be? He glanced off camera, then back to you with wide, panicked eyes. But now we have a situation. The camera panned to the twins, who were seated at the table, each of them armed with their own bag of flour. Look at their little faces, he continued in the video, clearly trying to convince himself. They are cute, right? Harmless. If on cue, they both simultaneously squeezed the bags like squirt guns. A white cloud exploded around them. No, no, don't! He was yelling, but it was already too late. Within seconds, the kitchen looked like a winter wonderland. The twins, now resembling many ghosts, were giggling, faces covered in flour. Jimin's shoulders slumped in defeat. Jimin let out a defeated groan as he waved the flour cloud out of his face, muttering, Why didn't I know flour did this? You were laughing so hard, you were getting strange looks from the other spa guest. The video ended with him muttering, Flour is evil. This is why people buy pre-made cookies. Come here, both of you, he yelled as he ran behind his overly energetic kids. After the mess they created in the kitchen, he decided to give them a bath, which, of course, was another wrong decision. He somehow managed to give them a bath, which ended with the bathroom being the victim of their water attack. It felt like a puddle of water, which took half an hour for Jimin to clean it up. And if it weren't enough, they were giving him a hard time in wearing clothes. While Jimin tried to get them dressed, they flickered out of his grasp like slippery little fish, giggling and darting around the room. He halted in his tracks, taking long, deep breaths. It had only been 4 hours since you left him alone with the kids, and he was already regretting his decision. His kids were naughty and energy draining. Shaking his head, he again ran behind the two bundles of mischief. He finally managed to catch one, holding the wriggling twin under one arm while trying to wrangle the other. He said he would take care of them. He hadn't signed up for a twin tackling session, which seemed harder than performing on stage for hours. He had worked continuously, without a break, but he had never felt so tired before. Now we are going to get dressed and watch a nice movie. Enough of mischief, he affirmed as he got a hold of the other twin. The twins only giggled in response, as if indirectly saying that they weren't planning to stop anytime soon. By the time you were done with the massage, your phone rang. You were already stifling laughter as you answered casually, "Hey, how it's going?" "Hey, honey," he whispered, sounding desperate. "Is there a trick to, I don't know, contain children? Like some secret move that just makes them sit still?" "Contain them?" you teased. "Yes, is there a trick, a secret mom move?" "Duct tape." "Duct tape?" You snorted. You couldn't help but laugh. "Are you asking if I have superpowers?" "Maybe," he said, sounding dead serious. Before you could answer, you heard giggles, followed by distant splashing sound through the phone, the unmistakable sound of water being sprayed. "Oh no," he muttered. "Guys, what is—" "Daddy, water fight," your daughter yelled gleefully. "Oh no, 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 not in the house," Jimin's voice yelled in the background. "Where did you even get those?" Apparently, the twins had somehow found their water guns and decided it was the perfect time for a showdown. Jimin's voice echoed in the background as he tried to negotiate with the two toddlers. Imagine him running around dodging their attacks while trying to reason with the two toddlers armed with powerful water streams. You heard him pleading, "Aim at each other, not at daddy, my phone, or not my face." You couldn't resist adding a little fuel to the fire. "How's that piece of cake going, honey?" His sigh was heavy with regret. "Piece of cake? This is a full-blown buffet disaster. I think I might be in over my head here." "Oh, you think?" You chuckled. "Seriously," he said, sounding defeated. "They have taken over. There's cereals in my socks. They won't mark us. And I swear I just saw your son sneaking off with the toothpaste tube." "Please tell me you didn't give them markers." "No," he sounded scandalized, which made you laugh even more. "But they're so fast. It's like they have backup markers. And don't get me started on the crayons. The couches, we need new couch cushions." You couldn't help but laugh. He had finally got the real taste of parenthood. You hung up, deciding to let him handle it. After all, he was the Jimin, right? When you entered the house, you steeled yourself, imagining what state the house would be in. But even your worst guess hadn't prepared you for the real scene. When you finally walked through the door that evening after your blissful, peaceful afternoon, the house was eerily silent. As you stepped into the living room, you saw the remains of what can only be described as a battlefield. Syrup streaks lined the walls and the tabletops. The couch was speckled with crayon marks and what might be crushed cereals. The faint crunch under your feet confirmed it. Flour dusted every surface in the kitchen, and you spotted a bottle of dish soap lying defeated on the counter. Water gun puddles glistened on the hardwood. Then, in the midst of it all, there he was, Jimin, sitting cross-legged on the living room rug, Both kids sprawled across his lap. All three of them were asleep. His hair was still plastered on his forehead with remnants of syrup and flour. His face had traces of what appeared to be a mix of blue crayon and pancake batter. His shirt was damp, wrinkled, and covered in cereal. You leaned down, running your fingers through his hair, and his eyes fluttered open. "Oh, hey," he mumbled, smiling up at you. You beamed back. "Hey," you whispered back, amused. "Rough day?" He sighed and nodded tiredly. "I don't even know how you do this every day. They're like tiny chaos machines, smart and fast. Is this what you deal with?" he asked, glancing at the kid sleeping on his lap. You laughed, kissing his forehead. "Pretty much." He gave you a weak grin, motioning to the twins. "I love them so much, but I swear they have superpowers or something." You laughed, patting him on the shoulder. "Welcome to parenthood, Jimin. You survived day one." "Let's get them to their beds," you suggested. Jimin nodded in response and carried Jihoon in his arms while you picked up Jihye. As you returned to the living room after tucking the twins into bed, Jimin pulled you in a hug, squeezing you with a newfound appreciation. "How do you do this every day?" You laughed, resting your head on his shoulder. "Mom's magic powers." He looked at you with exhausted eyes and gave a small, sheepish grin. "They won." You chuckled, tiptoeing to kiss him on the forehead. "I'm proud of you for surviving." "Go and freshen up, then I'll make a coffee for you, okay?" you whispered, stroking his cheek. He nodded and collapsed onto the couch, groaning while you made your way towards the bedroom. He sighed and closed his eyes, but his eyes snapped open when you yelled his name. "Jimin." He frowned in confusion as to why you were shouting for him, but then his eyes widened when realization dawned upon him. "Your vanity." "I'm sorry, babe," he yelled back. "You are so dead, Jimin," you threatened, descending the stairs while he rushed to save himself from your wrath. Amidst all this, the twins slept peacefully in their room after summoning chaos in their father's life. Guess Jimin hadn't actually survived the day.